Hello, this is J. Anthony Smith with Black Men's Digest TV, and our special guest today is someone that we've highlighted on another episode. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that we started the Good Brother Spotlight. And this guest that we're going to interview today, Miguel Pilgram, is a man that we highlighted that had a substantial windfall, and is using this windfall to revitalize the neighborhood and his community. So now we actually get the opportunity to sit down and talk with him in depth, find out what his motivation is, hear some of the things that he has coming up, really just sit down and encourage you brothers that are out there that trying to find ways in which you can encourage and build your community. So after these short messages, we'll be right back to sit down and interview with Miguel Pilgram. Freedom is a mark of self-acceptance. Telling the world who you are and what you believe. Loving you from the inside out. 24/7, 365. No matter the season. Express yourself today with Neo Soul Fashions. Welcome back to Black Men's Digest TV, and as I mentioned, we have our guest today, Miguel Pilgram, who's going to talk about different topics. We're going to pick his brain and get some wisdom and what he's doing as far as with his real estate and his ventures and how he's basically working his mission, working his plan. So thank you so much for coming in, Miguel. We appreciate your time.
I appreciate you guys having me on board.
All right, it's awesome. So we'll just get right into it. So tell our viewers, who is Miguel Pilgram?
Proud fourth generation Navy veteran. Man of spirituality and faith. A father to two wonderful grown children now. A friend, a wonderful son to a wonderful mother and father, who both are still living. And just a man who has a vision and is always visualizing improvement and things that are close to my heart.
Awesome. That is great. Well, of course, first I want to begin with thank you for your service, and serving our country. That's definitely a great attribute. So we're going to, we mentioned about you getting a substantial windfall, but what we really want to focus on is, how and why did you decide to rebuild the Sistrunk neighborhood?
Well, Sistrunk reminds me of where I was raised after my father got out of the military. I actually was born in Los Angeles. We moved a few places and ended up in Memphis, where he's from. And that's pretty much where a lot of my family was and what have you, a lot of memories and history, that family culture that I was used to. By the time I got out of the Navy, that area had pretty much started to transform. And shortly 4 or 5 years after that, by late 90s, most of the area that I grew up in as a child were gone. And I saw that happening here. So after we started the real estate company, we had acquired a marina down in Las Olas, and we were refurbishing that, and I was always taking this route down Sistrunk. I said, wow, you can just pick the place up and put it right in Memphis. And the exact same houses and everything looked just reminded you of home in a lot of ways. Very familiar. So once our project came due, I tried to kind of get into the community a little bit, and the opportunity now to present itself. More recently, in the last couple of years, we really looked at the area and saw that it needed preservation. It had such a huge cultural history that is impactful for the community, as well as Sistrunk and its neighboring areas, Progresso, Flagler Village and such. Sistrunks, the Mizels, the Boldens, the Mosbys, just to name a few. And all these families have such a rich history there, and that area definitely deserves to be preserved, like so many areas in Fort Lauderdale and Broward County.
That's great. So as you encountered or started on this process, have you encountered any negative effects or any pushbacks as you began this process or during this process?
When you say pushback, I believe that when a man has a purpose, nothing can really push him back, only delay him. So I would say some things have taught me that not everybody who appears to support you in reviving a community are actually there to support you. Many are waiting for you to fail. Others are trying to hinder you. But when your cause is just and organic, it's going to affect everybody positively. I think those things are just simple delays that I know come, and I'm going to overcome. It's just a matter of time.
Gotcha. That's right. Yeah, let nothing stop you. So what advice would you give to black men, specifically business owners or those that wish to be, who want to build up their neighborhood or community?
Mm-hmm. I would say you have to try to own the dirt. And I say that because owning the dirt allows you to pretty much make your rules where banks and other entities can't intervene. And you can help people, startups, especially when it comes to real estate. Real estate is, in my opinion, one of the most direct routes to wealth for minorities, specifically black men. It does take some training. And I say training if you're going to get in the middle of things like I did with no formal theoretical education in real estate. You have to be under people and put yourself in a position to be humble. I had lots of capital at that time, but I had no connections in the real estate business. And I remember very vividly, we bought our first multi-unit building. Very excited. My team went on vacation throughout the country on Christmas, and I got a phone call. They were getting ready to put a lock on the building and cease and evacuate because the trash had not been emptied in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I found myself an option. Go try to find somebody to pay on Christmas Day or put together about 30 bags of trash. And the trash and dumpster is much different than just trash around your house, I assure you.
Yes, definitely.
And that pretty much told me, if you're going to get ready to do this thing, then realize you're going to be in positions like this again. Are you ready for it? And, it's pretty simple for me. I made a quick decision. And it kind of reminded me of going overseas to work in China. After 911 and getting injured, getting shot, I decided to fulfill my dream of going overseas to make a living and being able to support my children by multiculturalism. And everything worked organically, very organically, which allowed me to work for the cruise line for a number of years and move into a corporate position. I take over one of the largest security forces for any cruise line in the world. And eventually financial windfall. And take that same sort of work ethic, mission-minded, and do the same thing. Start with capital, learn the game, learn the process, learn the method, and try to excel. Take advantage of it. And because I'm not a broker, I'm simply an entrepreneur, an investor. I'm a student of everything. I love learning. I love taking on bigger projects to get better. If your vision doesn't scare you, they say it's really not big enough, right?
Right, exactly.
That's one of my main mantras.
Awesome. Something that we spoke about before we sat down, about how who you are inside is who you are regardless of whether you have money or not. Talk a little bit more about that.
There have to be cores and values that are established at a young age or even at an older age that you say, nothing that ever happens to me will change these conditions in me. This is my purpose, this is my destiny, whatever my fiber, my DNA, whatever you say that is. And you cannot compromise those things. That makes you a man of honor, a person of integrity, and you're going to do the right thing. Not always the most comfortable thing, but those core morals and values that challenge you when you know it's not the right thing to do, but everything in you wants you to do that thing. You have to hold true to that. As we were speaking of earlier, whatever you are before you gain wealth, fame, whatever that is, you're going to be more of that. Some people thrive on notoriety. You see my face out here a lot, but prior to this, I was always on the other side of the camera, on the back side. one of my areas was surveillance.
Gotcha.
Always behind the camera, but you have to understand, people want to add a face to a brand that's moving forward, that's doing things for the community, that's trying to be of honor and integrity. And I'm not saying I'm going to do two shoes by any, but I know when it comes to honor and community what my purpose is, and I'm trying to execute that.
Gotcha. Excellent, excellent. So that kind of leads me into my next question. What keeps you motivated?
Easily motivated by just living. I mean, I kind of told you earlier, 2 weeks after 9/11, I was running a lounge in Memphis and had taken the job overseas in China. And I was leaving one day and saw a guy getting beat on the street. It's my duty. I'm trained very defensively, so I said, let me get out and break this situation up, because he wasn't getting manhandled. He was getting beat by a much larger guy. And I said, no, come on, man. You see, he's had it. Whatever he did. But I began to get. The guy took off. I tried to grab him. As I was turning around, he shot me. And I saw the movement, so I was able to turn in a way, but it got close, pretty close to the vertebrae. And that really gave me a different lease on life, I would say. I've always been dedicated to the mission in a manner of discipline. Get up, train, whatever that is. But someone asked me, are you going to still take the job overseas? I said, yeah. And that told me I made the right decision. And with that decision came a lot of consequences. Getting over to China, foreign place. I'd been there in the Navy a few times, but now I was working for foreign cruise lines, and their primary language was Mandarin. It was challenging, and I remember getting over there, and they held a job for me. I have to say that when someone does something for you, I think it's your obligation to return that favor. And they held the job for me the whole time I was injured and in the hospital. To me, that's a powerful thing. And that showed me that the Chinese people are people of their word. Nothing just like me breaks that condition. And that's why I went over there and did a good job, no matter what it took. The food wasn't acceptable for me. The hygiene was not acceptable for me for a number of months, just to say. And everything that is built on those ships is a third shorter, thinner than most U.S. vessels. So my bed was short, about 2 feet, so I was always sleeping a certain way. The food was an acquired taste, but once I got into the culture and accepted that this is what I'm going to do, and began to speak the language, I understood that I could make the condition better, because it's not going to change unless I change it. So I embraced the culture. I embraced their work ethic. Their hygiene issues, I worked around that. And not to say that it's bad, it was just different for me. Saying nothing, because they are great people and I still admire them. Actually, one of my tattoos was done in men. That's much I admire them as a people. But I realized that they have something that when our culture years ago had, the ability to have their children work on the ships with me. These are grown people now, 35, 40, 50 years old, while the retired parent takes care of the child. Therefore, extending those work ethics, that discipline and value into the child. They don't have a retirement community over there. There's no such thing as retirement homes.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? But most of us think that once our kids are 18,
it's time to get out.
Oh, it's back to that life, and I understand that. But for me, I will always be there to support mine. And I will always be involved in my grandchildren's life. When I'm blessed to move to that level. And China really reiterated. I already had those core values, but working in China really make them go to another level. The sacrifices that they make on board to contribute to the family's wealth. And I know in this African American culture that it does not work. Nobody is going to contribute to the family wealth. They're continuing to their self wealth. And I remember to myself, I said, wow, I'd actually ask people to do that one time. Let's contribute a certain amount, $20 a month. At the end of the year, let's look at some stocks, or let's build something. And nobody was interested. And I think that's common. Not just most people's families will not do that. When we talk about collective power, buying power, we've got to get it together.
Exactly.
Because I can buy every single neighborhood and I'll run out of money. But guess what's going to happen? It's not self-sustaining. It's not going to last. And I mean self-sustaining. Our cultures are not self-sustaining. We have to have, like we go to for Jewish food, we go to, Little Italy for Italian food, we go to Little China for Chinese food. That means they're bringing outside cultures into there. So we spend money over there, and that money stays within those neighborhoods longer. I think the average amount of days that the black dollar stays in the black community is like 2 days, compared to Jewish community 27 days, and Chinese community 32 days. Why such a huge disparity?
I mean, just the Black Panther film is a testament to when we collectively get together, we can make things happen.
And we've been undersold and underappreciated, except for our music, our culture, our athleticism, but never for our skills outside of those genres. Our singing, yes. Our dancing, yes. But for our acting, which shows that area is underserved.
So, what has been some of the best advice that you have ever received?
Stay focused, directly, execute, complete the mission.
So, one final question. What do you want your legacy to be?
A guy came up from nowhere and stood on the shoulders of those that came before him to bring the community together, to have an impact on those around.
That works for me. Awesome. So, what are some things that you're working on in the future?
Definitely, as we were discussing earlier, Jazz Lounge, and thank you for coming for the soft opening. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
It was great.
I think that you did. That's opening in about 3 weeks. The soft opening was a overwhelming success. The community is embracing that concept, and I'm taking a similar concept over to Sistrunk. I think this is a perfect segue to show now what I can do and what I intend to do, even on a grander scale, on Sistrunk. And then across the street from 1448 Northwest 6th Street is 1429. That was owned by, the previous one, 1448, was owned by Mr. Hill and the Hill family. And he was gracious enough to sell me that property, as well as I think they're his cousins, the Mizels, the Mosbys, and the Pappies. The property right next to the incoming YMCA, the new YMCA that is currently the Mizell Community Center. My plans are definitely to create a performing arts center and performing arts and training center, with retail on the first floor, several different bays on the second floor to include musical art, dancing, and visual arts. All these are studios that will be available, and I plan on giving these instructors and trainers discounted rates as long as part of their classes entail children from the local community, at least 25%. You incentivize great skill sets to come because you're going to have cheaper rates, and all they have to do is bring children, some of the children, at least 25% from the local community. That ensures that the local community is benefiting. On the third floor, I'm going for some Manhattan-style lofts. I'm reaching for that, may not, but I want to give the appearance and the opportunity to the local community. 25% of those will be at discounted rates for the local community. So nobody's going to be priced out. No, it's not going to rent to all of them at a discounted rate, but there will be 25, maybe 30%. So they can enjoy this wonderful, and when you own the dirt, you can do those things. And the city's trying to help me, the CRE is trying to help me, so I think we can get it done.
That's great. Well, I'm certainly behind you 100%. Like I said, I see your vision, and it's clear. You definitely That's one of the reasons why we selected you. As far as once we heard your story, I said to myself, it's immediate. We have to sit down and talk with him because you don't hear about that story.
No, they won't publicize it much.
No, not at all.
And I don't need that. I don't need that. The right people, the amount of media that this has gotten has definitely given me a platform to people to ask questions, young entrepreneurs to reach out. And I'm all about that. I know sometimes I'm very busy because I got these projects and we still have the clothing line coming, but it's good. And those that reach out to me, I definitely try to respond. And if I don't feel bad. I'm sure you probably reached out a few times like, man. But it's organic, and pretty much what you see, I think you can tell, is who I am. I'm a man of integrity and honor, and what I say I plan on doing and executing till the mission is complete. And I'm excited about what's going to happen in Sistrunk, as I am opening the Jazz Lounge in a couple of weeks. The clothing line. I have a passion for creating things, and with a designer like Tanya Marie Design, the builders that have helped me, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good, and I plan on re-energizing as much as I can Sistrunk. People are always asking questions like, why would you invest in such a distressed community? I said, because it would remain distressed if nobody invested. Well, what's going to happen? I said, see, you have to bring something that's going to bring other members, not just the community members, to it. A restaurant that caters to everyone. New York Subs and Wings, our restaurant brand, caters to everyone. Most people like wings or subs. And we have burgers there too. And cheesesteaks. Right. That's the cheesesteaks. Our Jazz Lounge. Most people like live bands. And when you have a live band every evening and then a public jam sessions, and then you bring featured artists in, and you're looking for local artists, and there's nothing like it, and it's built for one thing: jazz. Classic jazz, jazz fusion, contemporary jazz, Afro jazz, Latin jazz, spoken word and jazz. It's going to be incredible. And we're already asking people, can they make reservations? We haven't even opened yet. So I know that that's going to be very impactful. Because members of the community have already walked by and said, Miguel, I don't know why you're doing this, but thank you for bringing this to our community. Which tells me that what I'm doing is right, organic, involves the community as it should. And it's going to be well received, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's great. Like I said, I'm definitely excited, ready to be one of the first people in there. So it's definitely going to be a great opportunity. So, to kind of recap some of the main points that I've heard from you. One, own the dirt. Because when you own the dirt, you can make your own decisions. Yeah. And it's all about being focused, being honest, and with integrity. Because with integrity, it's going to take you wherever you need to go.
Absolutely.
And that's what brothers need to understand and realize, is that as you venture into being, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or either just getting a regular job, it's all about with integrity and focus, and that can take you wherever you want to be.
You're so right. If I may, I found that the times when I had the opportunity not to do things with honor and took those opportunities, the taste was sweet but bittersweet. The return was immediate but short-lived. It's not always easy to do the right thing, but it's always easy to accept that you did the right thing. Once you make that decision, rarely do you go back and change it. And I think that's why people follow me. That's why people ask me, when are you doing your next concept, and is it for sale? Because I do things. What you get is what you see is what you get. I'll give you an example. Sometimes you can actually go into a brand new built house, open the closet, beautiful carpet, and you open the closet and the carpet starts right at the door. Rarely do you see that the carpet has been put all the way up inside the closet, up to the baseboards.
Right.
Unless you're going and hiring in-house. But the average home, you don't see that. And people ask why. That's standard. Every property that I bought, you'll see that that's covered with carpet or tile. It's the finishes. It's the details.
Right.
If you buy a property from me and call me 6 months, Miguel, they told me I got to replace all the plumbing. I'm going to ask you to put the plumber on the phone. I'm going to ask for his license number. He's going to say, why? I said, because you are going against your code of ethics for plumbing. You're lying to this man because I replaced all the pipes prior. And I've had that happen before.
Wow.
That's why I know I'm going to keep getting opportunities. I'm going to keep being able to do things for the community because I do things a certain way. With honor. And I expect to win. I expect great things to happen to me. And I always have been that way. My family tell you, he said he was going to travel the world, and he did. He made a great living at it. He said he was going to go and work in corporate. He did. And I only have a couple of years of college. But I think I'll read. I'm a student of everything. I'll read. I'll drive late at night looking at properties. When other people are reading, sitting in their home, looking at classified ads and TV, at this house, I'm out there strategizing. 2 a.m., I'll take a picture of a piece of property and say, wow, I wonder who owns that. And I have the benefit of not being a broker, so I can walk into you and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? I don't have to ask you if it's listed with a broker. That's your issue.
Right.
But a broker or a real estate agent has to ask. Then if so, he can't. I'm not doing anything. I say, hey, I want to buy it from you. If you're not on a contract. And that's a lot of power. That's a lot of, we're small, but we move in ways that others don't think.
So my next question is, when's the book coming?
We were thinking about a ghostwriter. When I heard about the numbers that it takes to do that, let me get some money coming in first. Let me get some money coming in first. Because people, after 8 years ago, when that sort of windfall, statistically most are gone. And I actually cross it out on yours because for me, you have to understand two things. When you inherit a lot of money, when you make it to the NFL, NBA, you win a lot of money, you have to have a plan. Because he who has no plan fails.
Exactly.
And I continue to have a plan for my life, as I have since I was 14 years old and I left my mother's house and told her I was going to get a job. And she says this story sometimes, but develop your honor and integrity for you. No, you don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning like I do. I choose to. Because I want to get up and review and get my mind set for what's coming for the day. Because it's coming. And I got to be prepared for it. You can be a better you every day. And that's something I try to follow. Be better. Your relationship, your skill set, whatever it is that you have a passion for, love what you do. And I can see you love what you do. Nobody stops on their own unless they say, you know what, I can do this. Sometimes you got to question yourself. Even at this level financially now, I still have to ask myself sometimes, man, that was a bad deal. You keep making those kind of mistakes, you'll be back on the cruise line again. But then I have to tell myself, what did you learn from that? This is our second brick and mortar restaurant. A lot of people don't know that. The first one was a great concept and fell in what it was, but the location for what it was didn't bring the funds.
Gotcha.
We downsized it, trimmed it, cut the fat from the bone, much better location, added a jazz lounge to it. So I think we'll do it this time. Yeah.
Definitely.
Always trying to be better.
Yeah, that's it. I always have to push and have to continue to evolve and grow.
You want to be a master of your craft, whatever your craft is. I don't want to compete against you. I'm a creator. I'm not just a consumer. Sitting back, let me get in front of him or be better than him. No, you pull up in a nice car, I'm going to say, man, that's nice. I don't care if it's a Volvo, Volkswagen, or Porsche. I like cars. I like the best. I always have. And as you ascend, you have to move into your own place. We're making our own shirts now, because I like very nice shirts. Good quality. Things that you can take off and people were so unique, made with pieces that come from Zambia. I actually went to Zambia and purchased these pieces. That makes it organic to me. Africa. Africa's another segment, but very moving. So many places I've had the opportunity to travel in the last 8 years, and working with the cruise lines all those years. I know that shaped me, seeing other cultures work so hard for the American dream, and have many of us we squander it, man. And we take advantage of the system, and we become masters of getting over on the government. I mean, you can be the master. The man above made you the master of this world. But we only think that everything's too complicated. Real estate it can be difficult. It's hard work. If I'm working every day, it's hard work. But I'm constantly learning, and I love it. You gotta love what you do.
Exactly. So that we can say amen on that one. You gotta love it.
Yeah, you gotta love what you do, because it's not always gonna be an easy road, man. That's for sure. Learning financial methods and processes, learning how to look at investments and P&L statements, and valuing property valuation. All these things you have to read and be under people, and some people are not willing to share. And I'm not one of those people. You want to know something about what I'm doing? I'm pretty straight up. You're not afraid somebody's going to run, and hey, there are people already right now thinking about a jazz concept now. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not competitive. I'm a creator. Nothing will be like that. Or one would is this strong. Not trying to boast, but I love what I do. I love creating things. You're not going to have the exact same model, and I'll go in my room and come out, and mine will look totally different, because I love what I do. And when you can buy dirt, it's like, right now you're putting it together, this piece. You have the audio, you have this, you have all these things that you have put together to make this piece very, very nice. The way I'm sitting, the mic, the audio, at the end of the day, you're going to look at it and say, wow, this was great, or man, I should have done this, and this. Because you love putting things together to create an informative, conversational piece. Am I right?
Exactly. Well, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. Definitely enjoyed this time, Miguel. Where can people follow you on social media? Definitely
at Miguel Pilgram. And we also have two more Instagram. At Pilgram Fitness, Pilgram, and NYSW Jazz Lounge. At NYSW Jazz Lounge. You can also go on the website, info@Pilgram Group. And I think you can get me on Facebook, Miguel Pilgram. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'd love to be on board next time.
All right. So
absolutely. See you soon.
Yes, sir.